Hello everyone, I'm TheCrimsonDM and welcome back to Crimson Plays Craft the World. So, in this episode, we're going to encounter the first wave of enemies spawning from the portal and do a couple of other neat things. As you can see, there's a lot of little things that I'm doing with my dwarves here. I'm also checking out the shop for a minute, because why wouldn't I want to check out the shop? But everything's very expensive there, making me feel less like a dwarf and more like, I don't know, an elf from a Dragon Age or something. You know, something that doesn't believe in money. So I actually have all this area, and I need to get a lot of resources because the plan is to get access to traps before the first wave of assaults happen. And there's a lot of stuff I need to do before that can happen because, well, if you just look there, I gotta make a bunch of iron weapons, iron items to start with. And that's kind of difficult. Because I didn't have a proper iron farm when I started this. So one of the first things I end up doing is making an iron farm because I saw some iron right down there. Now this little mine shaft is eventually going to branch out and go into some much deeper areas. So I'll be able to get gold, and I'll be able to get mithril and silver, and all that good stuff. And maybe I'll find a dragon. Because, you know, what's life without fighting dragons, am I right? I've never actually fought a dragon in this game yet. I know where they are, and I've seen them, I just haven't fought them because I'm not sure if you actually can. My throat's dying a little bit. I'm still recovering from being sick after all. But I'm actually feeling a lot better compared to what I was feeling yesterday. So me being able to play games and record the audio and stuff, definitely possible. It is something that's very possible and something that I very much enjoy doing. And I've started doing live Let's Play things, like more blind plays. Also, in case you are wondering why the dwarves are moving so fast now, I decided to start fast-forwarding the game a bit for areas where it's not as important, because this game is slow. Like, I love this game, but it's slow. And I may not be the biggest fan of Oxygen Not Included, but it has one thing over this that I think really needed to be here, and that is the ability to fast-forward time. Like, I don't know why the creators didn't put a fast-forwarding time button. They created such a good little game despite the fact that all this company ever worked on before were puzzle games. They just didn't have a fast-forward button. It's like, I can tell you what's going on. I'm now being attacked by a giant super worm. But like, when it's moving slow, I don't know what to talk about. Because there's not a lot going on. Which is a shame, because I absolutely love this game. It's like a really simple version of Dwarf Fortress, which, by the way, maybe that's why they don't have a fast-forward button. Dwarf Fortress doesn't have one. I did want to mention really quick, though, the fact that they added rats into the game is really cool. Like, I don't know if rats are going to be a threat, like a pathological threat, but the fact that they exist is pretty cool in and of itself. I really like that. Oh, and thanks to Oh man, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. But I had a wonderful commenter remind me of the fact that you can double click and get the double click to get items. It's like, I was sitting here forever being like, I don't know what to do. And then it gave me that comment and it reminded me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I felt really stupid for having forgotten it. But, there's also more iron down there. That's good to know for the future. I'm trying to cut out all the times where I'm coughing and stuff, because no one really wants to hear that. And being sick is just miserable. But here's all this stuff. Like, with me building my mine, it's just going to keep going deeper and deeper for a little while. By the way, yes, those little grub worms can actually dig through the blocks, and that is why they go from being kind of annoying to a minor threat. Now, they won't always, because I think their pathfinding is a little bit broken. But they can. And there's some dwarves hunting down some meat because I need to feed them, and they get really upset when I give them only one type of food for too long. And I am outfitting them with all the armor and stuff that I can possibly make right now, because I don't think I have the equipment to make rope. Like, I can kill sheep and get wool, but I don't think I have the equipment to turn the wool into rope. That comes a little bit later in the game, and with only 1 minute to spare, I pretty much just have to outfit them with the best I can and hope that they get enough wood to get the rest of the wooden armor. Well, wooden helmets. So you'll notice this episode's pretty short, and it's because I decided to fast forward it, really. This was over 25 minutes of video before I realized that there's just a big chunk of basically nothing happening. And with me realizing I can fast forward the game, this game got a lot easier for me to want to make videos about. Now I slow it down here because the assault is actually, well, kind of dangerous. It's early enough in the game that I shouldn't have to worry about the really dangerous guys coming yet. But we are about to be hit by an assault of a bunch of guys. And no, we did not get to make traps. It looks like I have one bear trap somehow, but making actual traps is not a thing that happened. And that's a little bit of a bad thing, because we're going to have to deal with that as we're fighting off the bad guys. And that's going to be a bit of a problem. Like, almost no armor, not very good weapons. I could foresee us losing some dwarves here. So I believe that's more iron, but just below it is actually silver. Don't ask me what silver is used for, because I honestly can't remember. Yep, and there's the portal with all of these guys coming through. And I honestly don't know why half of them decided to just go up. I'm grateful for it. Because, don't get me wrong, I like fighting bad guys and whatever, but dude, there's a lot of guys there, and a lot of big guys. Those aren't fun to fight. So the fact that only a few of them are beating down my door is kind of a blessing. Of course, they're also, you know, destroying the blocks, which is a very slow process, thankfully. But even with them, you know, even with it being a slow process, if they break through, then that's a nightmare. And I think it was about this point that I started feeling like they might have lowered the difficulty a little bit. And that's kind of nice. Because in the first game I had playing this, I didn't know what the countdown was for in the first place. And then when the countdown actually reached 0 and this happened, I was so underprepared that every one of my dwarves, aside from like one of them, died. And you can already see it. They've almost gotten through that block on the left. And if they had gotten through that, that would have been a problem. So I decided I would distract them by throwing my dwarves at them. And the distraction proved to be a little bit more useful than I thought it would be. Sure, I'm putting some portals down to help save my dwarves so they don't just die. But I seem to be doing pretty decently against these guys. Which is surprising, to say the least. I think if it had been a straight fight and not on two fronts, I would not have won this confrontation. My best bet would have been to hold out until the break of day and let the sunlight kill them. Oh, I leveled up. Yay! This gave me another dwarf that I could outfit almost immediately, which was exceptionally good because he is useful for combat. I always wondered why female dwarves was a DLC, because that always seemed like a kind of lame DLC to me. And then I looked into the company that made this because I like this game. I want to see more games like this or something come out by them. And it turns out they mostly have only worked on puzzle games, so it might make a little bit of sense why that's a DLC. By the way, that looks like a ruin, which is pretty useful, but super dangerous. So, in the next part, I will definitely be hitting that up, but we're almost out of time. So, thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios!